Ladies and gentlemen watching, everybody listening, welcome to another Monday episode of the No Contest Wrestling Podcast. I am the heel that you love to hate, O'Shea Jackson Jr., a.k.a. Petty Guerrero.
Hey, yo, it's me. It's the TWO, that J-I-double-G-2 Jiggy, TJ Jefferson. What up, though?
What's going on, man?
You know, just trying to wrap my mind. What's up, everybody? Trying to wrap my mind like everybody watching us around the news from yesterday morning. I got a text from you bright and early, which I knew something was weird because you don't be texting me at 8 a.m., 9 a.m.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And then I look at my text and I'm like, wait, what? And then you sent me a text chat with this person that confirmed that.
Yeah, we fans of the WWE, we R-Truth and also Carlito, but in this moment we're speaking about the release of R-Truth, Ron Killings. And yeah, it was shocking to say the least. Number one, as you pointed out when we were talking, on a Sunday.
Yeah, right.
Was wild.
That's why I was like, this ain't real. Nobody gets released on a Sunday.
Yeah. And I saw the tweet like everybody else with R-Truth thanking the WWE universe, talking about his release. And it was a bit of a shock, but R-Truth is such a huge character as far as not only what he brings to WWE TV, but even off of TV. He's just such a hilarious personality that everyone thought there's no way. Mm-hmm. It's the first. Maybe it's going to be a joke where he thought it was April Fool's.
My bad.
Yeah. That's on me.
Yeah.
And immediate. The tweet was up for about an hour, and I was like, nah, an hour's come on now.
Yeah, man, if that's a mistake, that's enough time.
It's time to let us know it was a joke. And first thing I did was text Truth. And I, as you know, I use quite a bunch of, expletives. Yeah, expletives. And it was, he hit me with, no, it's true. It's true. And I was in shock, especially when we just seen him on TV back-to-back weeks. He just had the match with John Cena. And it really seemed like, especially on this run with Cena being his final run, there could be a lot of spaces for R-Truth's character to bring some sort of comedy to this thing, because a lot of the complaints by fans is that it's been very dry, that it's been, John comes out with black and white for the Titantron. I don't think it's called that anymore, but you see. It just felt like we see many opportunities for Truth to be used. And even in the sense of Carlito, who's in a group that's on Raw every week. Judgment Day, he's showcased in Judgment Day every week. And we're going to give Carlito, some our own thoughts in his own time during this episode. But Truth being dropped the way that, and not necessarily dropped, because what we've heard from Fightful, our friends over at Fightful, is that after his contract expires, that's when the release is going to happen. It's not an immediate release. We don't know the length of what's left on the contract. So we do got a little bit more Truth, but yeah, it hurt. It hurt. R-Truth is damn near the WWE mascot right now.
Right.
And so it's, it's not the end of the world. It's the end of the world as we know it. And that a lot of times is a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it's just, one of those things where you have a character that's so universally beloved. I just now thought about it, I just emailed Don Bowie the picture that you and I took with Truth and Omos at WrestleMania. Yeah. And we were talking to him, chopped it up. I've been on record on this pod many times saying R-Truth, in my opinion, is without a doubt one of the absolute greatest sports entertainers of all time.
Yeah.
And I don't even think there's an argument for that. When you take the meaning of sports entertainment, it should be a picture of R-Truth, right? So, we got to chop it up with him a little bit there. He expressed that he'd like to come on the pod, and we kind of gave R-Truth his flowers in that moment. I don't normally like to sweat somebody like that. That's how brothers kind of act. Like we don't want to tell somebody they're dope or anything. Yeah. But at that moment, man, I didn't care. I saw Truth and we were chopping up, and I had to tell him, man, how big of a fan we are. Everyone is of him. And the crazy thing is, just last week, Shay, remember I was talking about Mark Briscoe, and I said to you, it's a shame that we'll never get a Mark Briscoe R-Truth program or segment, because that would be comedy gold. Now there's a chance. And look, we could sit here and we can...
It's like the third time you did this shit, by the way.
What's that?
Put something out on it.
And manifested it right. I'm glad
Looking
you said
at Seth Rollins' signature right here, just angry at you.
I'm glad you said it, because I don't want to keep saying it. But yeah, man, it's like we could sit here and we can be upset. Like a lot of the WWE performers are upset about this, and that's understandable. But what's done is done.
Yeah.
It's time now. Let's keep this our truth train running and rolling. And I'm looking right at you, Tony Khan. Like, here's a guy you can bring in. And look, wrestling, you have to have all the elements. You have to have the wrestling, but you also have, your promo section. You have this, that, but you also have to have room for comedy. Mm-hmm. And wrestling, there's always room to make people smile and laugh and feel good. Right. And you look at AEW and you see the amount of people that he could work with. Like, just imagine him backstage and running into the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah.
Any WWE person that he worked with.
Yeah.
And just the comedy there, like, dog, what you doing? Like,
yeah, right.
There's so much that can be done. And like I said, him and Mark Briscoe, I don't care what it is. I need those two on my Tony. I need Mark Briscoe and R-Truth on television together doing something, because that's money.
Yeah.
So like I said, instead of us, we don't know why this was done. It doesn't make sense. Like you were saying, this would have been a perfect time. I thought this when you first told me, and then apparently it started going around Instagram and Twitter that if you're going to release him, you've got a match with Cena.
Exactly.
John Cena wants to do what?
Yeah, he wants to ruin wrestling.
What better way to ruin wrestling than to have here's a match, here's a stipulation, R-Truth, you win, you get a title shot. Yeah. But if you lose, your career's over.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why, number one, social media a lot of times is not a real place. No, a lot of people, a lot of people like to jump on the fake outrage shtick, and the new thing to do is to pile on Triple H, and there's just something in me that thinks or that feels that Triple H would be smart enough to do something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which Triple H would know to, like, if we're letting go of Truth, let's put some more impact on this Saturday night main event situation. It not only elevates John, but then you get the crowd and their love for Truth involved, which was already there, but it increases it. And so it makes me feel like it's a call from upstairs and not necessarily the creative side of the WWE. I just the mind that Triple H has, I know if some guys at home see it, I know he see it.
Exactly.
So it really just feels like a call from upstairs looking at numbers to cut without recognizing the emotion that's attached to the name and numbers. And of course, it happens on the first of the month, which a lot of BS happens on first of the month. But
just ask Bone.
Yeah, we're gonna I'm gonna send it to you, Don, so we can post for our viewers. But I just want to read what Ron Killing said in his tweet. I'm sorry to inform you all, I just got released from WWE. I want to thank WWE for the ride, but mostly I want to thank each and every one of you who was along for the ride. Thank you for all the love, support, and appreciation you have given me over the years. Thank you. And that's from Ron Killings. And in response to that, I retweeted it and I say, it's rare you have a performer as loved as this man right here, by his peers, by the fans, able to reshape himself time and time again, even winning the feud against Father Time. I know it's a business, but business can be called effing shitty too. And that's the truth. Thank you to Ron Killings. We got to get you on the pod.
Yeah.
We got to get you on the pod, man. Not to talk BS, but to celebrate you. You know, we would really love to do that. Wherever you go, fans like myself and TJ, we're going to follow you. You know, we're going to follow you My man just had one of the top selling shirts in the company.
Right.
Like, what you need? Like, what more? It just makes you ask the question, what more I got to do?
And well, and to top that off, right, to go back with what we were saying about Triple H's mind, again, if you knew this was coming and you let him slip past Saturday night's main event, Monday night, he's got that interaction with the new bloodline, JC Mateo's Husky, Solo.
Killed that promo too, that little hiccup.
If that's the case, then why don't you have them just put a beating on R-Truth so severe that later on we find that the doctors have stated that his career is over? Something to that point. Like, put a button on this.
Yeah.
But
we've seen it happen.
Just to have him on is Saturday Night's main event a PO? No, you don't pay for it. It's just what it is. But then to have him come back on Raw and be a part of another funny segment, and then you find out he's gone. It's just it's weird. And like I said, we don't know the inner workings of what's going on.
Yeah, we don't even know if this is really where this is going to go, because it said, he said release in the tweet, but word is it's when his contract is up.
So let me ask you this. His contract's not up for renewal, which I'm assuming is sometime in the very near future. Or is he written off of TV? Does he because I don't think you can put him on TV now, right?
No.
There's no way.
The fans would take over the show.
So yeah, it's just it's odd. But like I said last week about corporations, man, they are really worried about their bottom line.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was just bringing in money. That's the confusion. It's like I was just one of the top shirts.
Okay, so now you see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah, because
they're always worried about money as a corporation. I told you how I got let go from AT&T because they got rid of, an entire company, and I had Rich help me get my job back. Here's the deal: every PLE we get the announcement of the attendance, and then you find out that this was the highest grossing PLE in the March that had an odd number year, or every PLE you get, this is the highest grossing year. And so money's being made.
Yeah.
So it can't be
So what is
it
the
money
issue?
thing? Is it because I know this for a fact? I've told you about my buddy John, who used to be a writer, WWE, and one of the things John told me way back when I'd ask him questions, I got to truth, and he was like, "Man, let me tell you, Vince loves truth." And I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "That is his dude. He loves truth." So you wonder, is it maybe being like a little, is it being, Kyle Petty, is it being Lori Petty? Is it being Tom Petty? Are they trying to erase, any kind of ties to that old regime? Which brings back my other question I had to you last week. What if they really do just let John Cena take this belt? This era of wrestling is over. It's done with. And then they start something new. Like, at this point, I don't know what's going on. We're just out here, throwing darts at a board. And
seeing what sticks, and we hope they don't stick. But outside of truth, there was another release. Carlito.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show, Carlito. Which is even more confusing because he is showcased every week. Every week as a part of the Judgment Day. Carlito, in his tweet, said, "My contract is up in 2 weeks. It will not be renewed. On top of that, WWE is demanding I pay back the money they paid me for apparently stealing money from the company. I've had my lawyers look into it, and after reviewing my footage on Netflix for the past months, they suggested I pay them back the money. But all jokes aside, gracias to WWE, and especially the WWE Universe. Los quiero mucho. P.S. I'll reappear again in another 13 years. I'm not going to butcher this. Dios me los bendiga." So it's like, it just feels like it's from upstairs. Like, do you watch the show? Yeah. Like when Eric Bischoff was here and he told us about that meeting that he had with the TNT people, and he was like, "Hey, tell me what day Nitro comes on," and they didn't. And they couldn't. It just feels like, do you watch the show, bro? Right. Like, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
It feels weird.
It just feels weird. It just feels off. It feels directionless and pointless, because now what do you do as the Judgment Day when we have these backstage segments, and Carlito's not there.
He's just all of a sudden gone.
Just gone. We were just playing this whole thing with him and Raquel, and he's just gone.
Right?
We not gonna talk about him. We not gonna
look. First and foremost, right? Just to keep it G-real with you, I will be the one to volunteer to take over Carlito's spot with Raquel. But that's neither here nor there. The point
is Monday.
I know
it is Monday, TJ.
But the point being, it's like you're featured every Monday. You're featured every week.
Yeah, in a very successful crew.
In a very successful crew with one of the three most over. And when I say over, I mean just reaction-wise, performers in wrestling and Dom. Yeah. So you've got that. You've got Finn. You've got Liv, who are all over. Judgment Day's been going for a few years now. They keep them at the top of the card. I just really, especially when you remember the Puerto Rican, the pay-per-view from Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny and Priest. Backlash. And then, by the way, to this day, I will say that Bad Bunny entrance, one of the 5 greatest of all time.
Oh, man.
And if you tell me it's one, I ain't going to argue with you. All right. Shambhala. Allah.
That was so
amazing. But
I was in Spain watching that.
A word?
Quick flex. But yeah.
That was a little bit of Funk Master Flex. Drop a bomb on him. But, to Carlito, when he came back after being gone so long, the pop he got that day was like, all right, bet. Now you got to do something with him.
And my boy was yoked.
He had the cool gray 11s on, he was doing this thing. And then you think, all right, bet. Now we're going to get some Carlito. And then it went months with nothing. And then he got brought into the Judgment Day. And, still never really, he had a few matches, but they were using him as comic relief when there's so much more Carlito could do for you. Yeah. So again, with him, but when we talked to him, I at least got the impression he grew up in the business with his dad, who was a legend.
He don't let it affect him.
He doesn't let this stuff affect him. I think he just goes with the flow with it.
Yeah.
And part of me goes, well, maybe if he had pushed a little harder himself personally for a storyline or something, maybe that could have changed something. But we don't know if that happened or not. Right. We don't know what the deal is. But I can say this, is anyone who takes the time to come on this pod with us, we have also the ultimate amount of respect and love for. And, Carlito, definitely, we didn't have a long time with him, but we had a good chat with him. So, just, of course, wishing him the best as well, whatever he decides to do next. And I think this is just bothering everybody because we just had those releases, those 13 or 15 people.
It's fresh.
Yeah.
It definitely is fresh. I'm just trying to, right now, something else that's been going on that you let me know about, and I just double checked right now. The Miz. The Miz taking WWE at the bio.
Yeah, it's literally like the last thing I saw on my phone before the pod started. Dom was doing this countdown, and I'm like, oh wow, No, I haven't had a chance to go look. This was just a post I saw.
Yeah, I just looked at his. I just looked at his ex bio right now. This is a no contest wrestling exclusive. I'm looking at it right now. The bio reads, the most must-read Twitter account of all time. Watch all seasons of Miz and Mrs. streaming on Peacock.
And that's on Twitter?
That's on, Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. All right, we call it Twitter sometimes. But yeah.
Now, see, on Instagram, no, it's true. He still has WWE Superstar on there. So, like I said, I don't know.
We don't want to speculate. We like to report on what's reported and what the fans are feeling in the moment. And there's a little bit of nervousness about a lot of our favorites from the old guard, and I would hope that there is some sort of understanding of what it means to have people of that veteran variety in a locker room when you are trying to introduce new talent. It doesn't always necessarily mean that the veterans are former world champions or first ballot Hall of Famers, but there's something to have the guys who've been all around the block, in the main event, in the mid card, in the up and comer, trying to get the locker room
jerking the
curtain. Yeah, like there's something to speak to having guys like that of all shapes and all characters in your locker room to teach the new guard that there is a way to be successful in all lights of wrestling.
Yep.
And it just does not feel good right now. And of course, we are fans. We have our emotions highly invested into the program, which is why we come back every week, because that's the business, you know, to make us feel something. And right now we are feeling for both R-Truth and Carlito. We know it's not the end of the world. We know that we're going to see you around other places.
Yeah, we should.
It's just, you know, sometimes we like to see you on Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown. But either way, you are always welcome here and on our televisions. No Contest Wrestling Podcast.
That's what's up.
Now, we got other things coming up. And also, I just want to say something real quick to the camera. I know I need a haircut. Shut up. All right. So we got we got something important coming up this weekend, bro. A little,
how about that?
A little life-changing event.
Right? You climb a ladder.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
you grab a hold of this thing.
Yep.
You unhook it. And the next thing you know, your entire career has changed, man. You know, I was at the very first Money in the Bank match.
Quick flex.
Hell, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, watching Edge walk away with that, just a standard issue black briefcase, looks like, you know, something that all the businessmen would take to work back in the day. Nothing stood out about it until years later, they got a little fancy with this type of joint. But yeah, man, just to see how far it's come, because with the first one, and I guess I should have looked this up. I didn't even realize we didn't think we'd go this way, but I believe it was Edge, Christian, Kane, Shelton, Chris Benoit, and Chris Jericho, I think. I think those were the 6, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking at a picture that I have on my phone right now, and I'm seeing Benoit, Jericho, Shelton, and did I say Kane?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so, yeah, I mean, but when it first happened, we didn't know what this meant. Apparently, this was an idea spawned from the mind of Chris Jericho, who's kind of like a wrestling savant, as it is. But we didn't really know what this meant until a few months later when Edge went and cashed it in on Cena. And you're like, oh, this is interesting. This is how this gets down. That's a threat.
That's a threat, boy.
So, you know, it's going to be interesting. The Money in the Bank is always interesting because you know that your next star-making turn is probably going to come from the person who grabs this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you think about the names that have had iconic moments with it, and it, you know, CM Punk was here, and I told him I hated when he cashed in.
Yep.
I could, boy, I would,
because you were a Jeffrey Nero fan.
Bro, the words that I called CM Punk for me and him to be as cool as we are now, God got jokes. I also, you know, Seth Rollins with the cash in on Roman, called him a few things as well. But
I got both of those guys' signatures on.
Yeah, right, bro. This is a nice piece of.
Thanks.
Is that Cody?
That is Cody.
Dang.
He never won it, but
I mean,
we'll sign this thing now. Think about it. I got
is that Miz? Yeah,
Miz.
yeah.
So we got Seth, Miz, Cody, and Punk.
And it don't matter that Cody never won it. You got to get Cody. Yeah, you don't see American Idol's Randy Jackson and not get his
right. And he'll win it eventually at some point.
Hey man, hey, don't you? Okay, okay. You go get them on you. But yeah, so we got it coming up, man. Life changing matches, and not only for the winners, but there's been a lot of people that have put on great performances in these matches that get a push afterwards.
Made themselves stars. Right?
Yeah, I remember speaking on last year when Tiffany Stratton won.
Yeah,
it made me put a spotlight on Zoe Stark and Lyra Valkyria. Yeah. Those two, after that match, I was like, oh,
stock went up in your book.
Yeah, the stock go up. You got to put on those bangers. And also shout out Chelsea for taking that fall.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
Yeah, through off the top of the ladder through the 2 tables.
I had a bunch of friends over. Well, actually, I was out of town. I was in Texas, and I had a crew of people, and a lot of them were like, yeah, I used to watch, but I was like, watch this one. And boy, did they put on a show, and now they've been watching every week.
That's what you do.
Those casuals that y'all try to tell me aren't really there, they're there, bro. You got to grab them. And so I'm excited, especially with it being in Los Angeles, because we are so spoiled in this city.
And not only in Los Angeles, but the Intuit Dome is no more than if we literally got up right now, got in the car and drove, we would be at the Intuit Dome in 14 minutes.
Dang.
That's how close we are to this spot. So
yeah,
it's literally right around the corner,
right in the backyard,
right in the backyard. So, and it's always fun. And in the Intuit Dome, we got to watch the first episode of Raw on Netflix there.
Yeah.
I know you don't like the Clippers. We're going to take your basketball fandom out of it. That is just an incredible arena, man.
Clippers don't play basketball.
Shut your mouth, first of all. And it's an arena that, for me, I could tell when they built it, this wasn't just for basketball, because it would be a lot more intimate if it was a basketball arena. They could have done away.
Dome.
Yeah, they could have done away with some of the seats, but this is for performances and other things, not just basketball. So I can just remember being in there for that first episode of Raw on Netflix. Like, this is an awesome place to watch. So I don't have tickets yet. I'm hoping that we somehow get a hold of some. I like I said, we're right. It takes me 16 minutes to drive from my house to Intuit Dome.
Right.
But, regardless whether I'm in the building or not, I'm looking forward to this, as I know you are. And like I said, this is going to set the table and kind of put storylines in motion for the next 12 months, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is, as a company, you have to be very excited, because you can play this any type of way, as far as that, that briefcase, that tease with that briefcase, man. It could go a long way, all the way to Mania and even a little bit past if you want. But let's talk about the matches that are going to be, that aren't set in stone quite yet, because we got one more qualifier happening tonight for both the men and women's. But let's start off with the men. Men, we have Andrade, LA Knight, Penta, Solo Sikoa, Seth Rollins, and possibly between AJ Styles, El Grande Americano, and friend of the show,
Charles Montgomery
Punk. Now, TJ, number one, you already got Penta and Andrade. They're going to go face to face in that match. That's going down. Solo Sikoa and LA Knight with the bloodline feud, that's going to always be there. I need in my soul and spirit CM Punk to win this match.
I need it. For the third time?
Bro, I need
three
Punk,
times?
I need Punk and Seth in the Money in the Bank match together. There's the cynical side of me is like, Seth is going to cost CM Punk his qualifying match. But in a perfect world, TJ, can I do some fantasy booking?
That's what we're here for.
I hear you, man. In Shay's perfect world.
You know what I'd like to call this? Creative Liberties.
Ooh.
By no contest.
We gonna have a graphic, Creative Liberties. Don, do it right now. Psych.
Dino, where you at?
Blame Don. # blame Don. But
Playboy Don.
I want CM Punk in this match.
He's in the match.
No. He's not in the Money in the Bank yet.
Oh, that's true. He's not in.
Well, I think
I don't know. I'm already looking ahead. I'm already
knock on wood, bro.
You should not look ahead. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
But if CM Punk gets in the match, in my mind, I want CM Punk, obviously, for the third time. First 3-time winner. I want CM Punk to win the briefcase. If you got CM Punk with the Money in the Bank briefcase,
I got money in the bank.
Seth is always going to have to look over his shoulder whenever he threatens to take Jey Uso's World Heavyweight title. He's going to have that looming over him. Every single one of his little Paul Heyman schemes that he comes up with, he's always going to have to worry about Punk tapping that briefcase. Like, you better watch yourself. So that's going to have that looming over him until our tribal chief comes back. And now with Seth having to worry about Roman Reigns back, it kind of gives Punk a little space to breathe and really think about what he wants to do with this briefcase. And then in December, a certain situation might happen where in his hometown, John Cena might have his final match. Now, if you remember back in the day, CM Punk in his hometown of Chicago, they needed Big John Cena to save the WWE and to take that title off Punk so he didn't run into the Chicago streets with the title. Now you have the roles reversed, and it is CM Punk stopping John Cena from roaming in his hometown and leaving the company with the WWE title. It writes itself. The stars have aligned. The planets are there. It's just too juicy not to do that. There's no way we could have planned for us to be in a situation where one of CM Punk and Cena's most iconic moments, the kiss, has a chance to have the roles flipped in reverse, and it's CM Punk who's here to save the company. Who would have thought? Now you or I. So let's do it. Let's do it now.
I don't hate that, but now that you've been talking, it just kind of,
don't do this.
I'm sorry. I got to. Seemed like you're a little too happy about with that, right? So then I got to ask myself, what would make O'Shea not happy?
Seth Rollins winning.
Not only that, but what if Seth Rollins and whatever this new group is, the Dangerous Allegiance, I don't know, what if they prevent Punk from even making it to the match?
That's what I'm saying.
What if Alan Jones Styles is the one who get? What if they prevent Punk from winning and now we get AJ?
That was my cynical side when I say I feel like Seth is going to stop him from winning the qualifier tonight, because Monday Night Raw is tonight. Right. Monday Night Raw is tonight, and if there was anything to piss me off more, it would be that. It's to stop him from qualifying. But I mean, and then there's also like if you really want to get real dirtbaggy,
I mean, why not?
Triple H already said he hate Money in the Bank. He might just want to spite us and make Grande Americano win.
Look, that's the other thing.
And him try to cash in at AAA.
Oh, my God.
Him trying to cash in on Vikingo.
El Vikingo?
At some random AAA.
Oh, wow.
That's evil.
That is evil. What's even more evil is the fact that it looks like we're going to go another pay-per-view with no Chad Gable.
Yeah, man, that is disgusting. Like, that's another thing. Is he gonna get released? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Like, man, that's interesting. Man.
That sucks.
That is dirt.
Please don't do that.
Could you imagine? The only thing that prevents that is when Worlds Collide is before Money in the Bank.
Hey, it might happen at a random Mexico City event, bro. You never know.
And then I take that back. At least Chad Gable does have a When Worlds Collide match.
Yeah, and we got to check on him. He took a pretty nasty fall. I think it was last week onto his head. So we hope Chad Gable's all right. Maybe we got to get a number on Grande Americano. I know for sure he has a number on Chad Gable.
Oh, without question. Well, I don't know. Chad doesn't really seem to know him that well, so
he is within the group, right? He's within the stable. So who knows? We're just speculating here at the No Contest Wrestling Podcast.
El Grande Americano's within what stable? Am I missing something?
I mean, did Chad Gable not have a Grande Americano shirt? Is he not a part of what's that shit called?
American Alpha?
Yeah. I'd be getting him confused with Otis and them.
Wait, that's the Alpha Academy.
That's the Alpha Academy. So I swear he's a part of American Alpha.
Okay.
I swear. I swear for God.
I swear for God. Who else could you swear before?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you know how I want to look at things with the CM Punk victory, but what are your thoughts on the men's match?
So your pick is Punk.
If he get in, yeah.
All right. My thoughts on the match, man, like I kind of gave you my creative liberty there. I'm thinking perhaps maybe Seth and Paul and Braun. Yeah,
right.
Do they interfere in this match? But I think Money in the Bank's such a big deal that you need your top guys in there. So I think Punk, even though it's not like AJ Styles isn't a top star, but I feel like Punk probably does get in the match, and then we have our 6, and then I don't know, man.
Yeah,
it's hard. I'm looking.
And who's to say once Money in the Bank happens that it's no DQ? We've seen people help others win the title, or win the briefcase.
Look,
so he's got 2 big ass dudes with him.
Yeah, Dexter Lumis had Indy Hartwell on his shoulders.
Yep,
and kept. By the way, that was a great moment too when Indy won that NXT Women's title. I'm gonna say I want to say Punk wins this, but man, a third one that's impressive.
Yeah. You give CM Punk so much promo ammunition.
Yeah. I think that with the fact that Cena's the champ, Punk winning makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But then you have Rollins winning and he'll go after Jay.
Right. But then do you want your money in the like Jay already has so much to deal with just by Rollins even being there. Yeah. They're on the same show, and he's got a crew with him. Yeah. Cena has no pressure. Cena's got no pressure over there on SmackDown. Yeah. He just come out, tell you ain't shit, and then leave. Like, right. He needs something for that story, man. Yeah. That's just how I feel. And I'm just a fan like y'all.
That's all we are.
We just out here speculating,
The only difference between us and them is this.
Yeah, you see that?
Right now. Other than that, we think just like you. We're fans like you guys are. So I think right now, both of us were predicting CM Punk to win this.
Fingers crossed.
All right, bet. Now.
Yeah. So for all y'all in the well, actually, chill out, bro. We're just speculating. Can we not enjoy it? Anyway.
And now, let's move on to the ladies. Hey, ladies in the house, calling out to you. Never was a city kid, truer and bluer. I just watched the Beastie Boys documentary this weekend, so that's
okay. I feel you.
That Beastie.
I love the Beastie Boys, bro.
How could you not?
Intergalactic, like as a kid,
planetary.
That drove me insane. It's probably why I'm this crazy as I am today.
Hey, did you know I got arrested at the Mardi Gras for jumping on the float? My man MCA's got a beard like a billy goat. You didn't know that, did you? Let's go.
See. Yo ass got so many stories that I thought you was like confessing. All right, so we got the ladies.
Ooh, ladies first.
Ladies in the house. So we got obviously Rhea Ripley, everybody's mama. Alexa Bliss, formerly known as the 5 Feet of Fury. Hot damn.
Our niece.
Roxanne Perez in the building. Julia. And of course,
the
social media psychopath.
The most unhinged person on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right now.
Caution.
It's not 45 and 47. Oh, no.
No, man.
It's nobody that you think. It is Sister Trend, Naomi. Her Twitter, if you're not following and you just want to be entertained, because Naomi's Sister Trend, there's doing the most, and then there's doing something that's past doing the most. And she's well past.
She is a first ballot Hall of Hater.
Oh, man. My goodness. Like, first of all, her going up to Bianca in the middle of the ring on SmackDown, saying how she went to her parents' house to go looking for her and no one was home. So she let herself.
So I let myself in.
Like, what?
Like, whoa.
That is dastardly.
That's insane.
You just let yourself.
So I let myself in
into your parents.
I want to be there. I don't care that nobody here. I want to be there. Then the bar
Come
about
on, man.
Maybe you and your mama would be good in wheelchairs. What? you know we at work. Like we supposed to. What kind of personal shot is that, bro? Can we talk? Oh, cut these cameras, dog. Like,
I mean,
excuse me?
Yo, that was
bring up my mother's medical history on television?
And I'm only laughing because I hope there's nothing.
Yeah, like obviously we know what we watching, but like that line right there as a fan, you like.
Okay, here's my pocket. I just pulled this out of my pocket. That was out of pocket.
Yeah, bro, like, my God.
That was so out of pocket.
Yeah.
And then let me tell you what else Naomi does. She gets on there last night when the news about Truth came out, and she's like, I hate this. And then Jade Cargill goes, for as much as I hate you, I hate this more. And Naomi goes, I hate the fact that you're still
Yeah, you didn't get released yet? Naomi, chill.
She
is a hornet's nest. She is a hornet's nest, dude. And the thing about the Bianca Belair's mom line, I didn't even know that.
Until I saw it.
I didn't even know that, bro.
And like I said,
it came out on Twitter. I was like, oh my God.
And I'm hoping that nothing's wrong. Yeah. And I'm hoping this is just the thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
But man, when the picture came out and there was her mom, literally, again, not making fun of.
No,
just making fun of the situation and
laughing is a nervous reaction.
Right?
And I was like, bro,
yeah,
listen, leave her alone.
Man,
them fatuus,
man, there's something wrong.
Like you don't want something wrong with them, bro. They're fatuus, but yeah. So they're in the match so far.
That's 5,
and we got to qualify. And I don't know how this one gonna go. I don't know, TJ. Ivy Nile, of course. That you always got to watch out for the dark horse in these matches when you got two dominant people. Stephanie Vaquer, friend of the show, owner of the Devil's Kiss. Stephanie Vaquer and friend of the show, Liv Morgan. This triple threat is crazy. It could go either way because there is a world where obviously Vaquer just got called up, and we're going to get into that because that shocked me to my core. Yeah, her losing the title. Liv Morgan, we already know how successful Liv has been in the company and has made the company, and the following that Liv has behind her, they're lunatics. All you Liv people, I'm gonna just tell you, you know that about yourself. But like, you guys showed us hella support on the episode, so we right there with you. Yep. And then it might be a situation where she gets the win and it starts a beef between Vaquer and Liv. You don't know where this one is going to go, and that's how it should be. Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are thinking, does Rhea get the briefcase? I feel like Rhea is at a point now where she just goes, hey, I want a title match, and I'm just going to insert myself.
What Bianca was talking about.
So even if somebody else wins this briefcase, Rhea will just open it up and take the contract and sign it. I don't know. So yeah. I don't know if her winning's the right move. You always want some element of the surprise, and I feel like in the women's side, we've gotten more of that element of surprise more so even in the men's division, historically speaking, with this briefcase. There's always been someone on the female side who's won this that you're like, wow, like Nikki ASH winning. Yeah. Even Liv, when Liv won. Yeah. That was not the Liv Morgan you see today. Like I told her, if you remember when she was a guest on the show in episode 20, I told her, at first I wasn't a big fan, but she won me over. And she asked me, she goes, what moment did I win you over, if you remember? And I was like, it wasn't one moment.
Yeah, it was
a buildup of time, just watching you get better and better and hone your craft. And just week after week, it was just like, okay, everything I thought, I don't think anymore.
And she won you over.
And she won me over.
Which is hard to do. I don't know if our viewers know this, but when black people get set in their ways, it's hard to change them, man.
And I can tell you, and I've said this on the show, there's been 3 wrestlers, well, 2 in particular, that I was like, I don't like from the gate. They're AEW guys. It was Sammy Guevara and Hangman Page. And then those 2 over time, they both won me over. And now I'm fans of both of them. And the same with Liv.
Yeah. By the way, Hangman, my sister called this. Like when we were watching that first event, she called. She was like, that's their guy right there. And also Sammy, I'll give Sammy this credit. Probably the best cutter I've ever seen when he jumped up that ladder and got Cody. Oh, my bro.
Anyway. Like I said, Sammy really won me. They both did, and like you said, once you don't like something, it's hard to because you have to like kind of internally go, I was wrong, and a lot of people don't want to admit they're wrong about nothing,
especially black people. But it could go either way. And it is a who's who of people who are known for getting a good spot. Yeah. Naomi. She was Lady Kofi in a lot of Royal Rumbles. Naomi, we know about her athleticism. Rhea, you got your powerhouse there. So a lot of people need to get lifted. Yeah. They go into mommy's shoulders. Yeah, for sure. You got Perez and Bliss, who are the smallest within the match, but they want to prove themselves.
They're feisty.
They're feisty, bro. And you could probably get some good moves out of somebody who's a little lighter. Yeah. And then Julia. If we could get Julia and Vaquer in that match.
Well, Julia's in the match.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying Vaquer has to be the last one to get in.
It's either going to be her and Liv. I think, no disrespect to Ivy.
Now we just lost Ivy as a guest.
I'm sorry. I said no disrespect.
Yeah, but listen, all that I'm just playing.
Normally you say something disrespectful after you said that. That was not my intention. I don't disrespect Ivy, even though you called her, what you call her, little Schwarzenegger.
Little Schwarzenegger, bro.
She's
swole, Amanda Schwarzenegger, bro. She'll choke your ass out. I promise.
So I think what we're looking at here, Shay, is this. I think that ultimately it's going to be Julia that takes the U.S. title off of your girl Zelina. I know you don't want to hear that, but I feel like that is what's in the cards for right now. So I think we eliminate Julia from winning Money in the Bank.
That's a good assessment.
We don't know who the sixth woman is. We're going to assume that it's going to be. I'm just going to assume it's going to be Stephanie. Okay, because they just brought her up.
Called her up,
but Liv Morgan's there too, and Liv is as over as you could get. So I'm assuming Steph, but I'm not going to be surprised if it's Liv. And I feel like we're going to get a shocking winner for this.
Absolutely.
So do I have to make a prediction now?
I mean, what are we going to do after?
Okay, that's a good point. So I'm looking at the camera and say my prediction to win the women's Money in the Bank match is our niece.
Oh my God, we had the same one.
Roxanne.
Yeah.
Roxanne. Roxanne.
Hey, he hit that.
Yeah, Roxanne Perez.
Yeah.
Our niece, friend of the show, with her dog Wyatt.
Shout out to Wyatt.
Shout out to Wyatt. Yeah, I'm picking Roxy.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
To climb that ladder. She might need a booster ladder on top of the ladder.
Oh,
I've literally thought, like, because she's 5 feet tall. Like, I do wonder if it's going to be possible. But
listen, man, don't be disrespecting the Polly Pockets.
You know, I never I don't disrespect Roxanne. Matter of fact, every time someone's in the ring with Roxanne, I say this every match: you better not hurt Roxanne.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, you better not.
All right.
So yeah, she's my pick.
They got spirit, bro. They just portable. Okay, so yeah, I had the same thought.
Roxanne,
because like she just has that mischievous element to her that you want from somebody who can always threaten somebody like, oh, you looked a little tired in there tonight.
Right.
Don't make me cash in on your punk ass.
And
like,
you know what else she does? Just real quick, just a quick, I guess, character thing. You know what I love, Roxanne, when she gets a woman on the ground and starts punching her, but she screams when she just, nobody does that. And there's something about that I just feel like it just makes sense that you're wilding out. And because I've seen girls do this in real street fights, just you know, and nobody does that.
She's seeing red.
She's seeing red. She's losing it. I love that. I think it's her. I think it's, Roxanne's time.
Yeah.
But also, now we got to look at this too. What's going on with that dastardly dirty Dom and Roxanne? Did she bring my man chicken nuggies? Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to play into this. I don't know. I don't know nothing.
Yeah,
right? I'm just speculating.
Yeah, and it's I just want to point out that the amount of haterade, snake in the grassness, and just all around disdain that Finn Balor has found happiness in is crazy.
The look on his face last week.
The look, bro. I tweeted it out. I said, this is the type of hate that you read about in historical texts.
Finn was just like,
Bro.
Like, you did this.
Yeah, if there was ever a dirty Mackin wrestler.
I got a big fat gat for the Dirty Mac.
Man, it's been quite entertaining, so I hope that goes on for a long time. And it will definitely, I think Liv's winning it.
Oh, word?
No, not the briefcase. Okay. But I mean, like, in the match tonight, Valkyria, Ivy, and Liv, because can you imagine Liv having to be backstage and Roxanne got that damn briefcase?
Yeah, I mean.
And beat you in the match?
Okay.
Can you imagine that?
I can imagine.
That's juicy TV right there.
That's juicy.
Yeah, buddy. Roxanne, we going for you.
Come on, Rox.
That's juicy, man. But Dirty Dom, you are an American hero.
Yes, you are.
And you deserve to be on the dollar bill, all right?
At least the $3 bill.
At least the $3 bill, man. Woo-wee. That's my boy. That's my boy.
Dirty Dom.
Never mind. We'll talk about that later. But also, we have our women's Intercontinental title match.
Yes, sir.
Lyra Valkyria, who I said stole my heart and the Money in the Bank last year, versus the man, Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch put her money in the bank where her mouth is and said, yo, if you beat me, I'm never challenging for that title again.
Oh, she said that?
She said that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's real in the field right now, bro. Which is it's kind of the wrestler version of Paul Heyman being like, it's not a it's not a guarantee, it's a spoiler.
Not a prediction.
Not a prediction, it's a spoiler. said she's never challenging him for it again. Now, I will say there was a time when
Cody Rhodes said
Cody Rhodes was in AEW, and he said he'd never challenge for the title again if he lost. And I was like, oh, there's no way he loses. And he lost. And
you're like,
to this day,
there's no way he'll keep up with that promise.
And he did. Yeah. So, I mean, it's one of the dumbest moves I've ever heard of in my life.
Well, that led us to where we are today.
Exactly. So, Bless you, Cody.
All things.
Smart business move. Terrible for kayfabe. Terrible. I was like, why? But yeah, so, Becky put that up there. And I know what we're all thinking. Obviously, this is going to be one of the best Irish classics that they can put on for us. Once again, in Los Angeles, because we get everything. But we're all wondering where Bayley is.
Yeah.
We know it was big mess popped off about Bayley, the queen of the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube, man. And we just need to know where she is. Right. And this just seems, if I could go into my fantasy booking situation,
Are you going to take more creative liberties?
It's going to be so cool when that thing just flashed like breaking news. But yeah, man, because I'm like, number one, when they made those new titles for the ladies, my first thought was, dang, does this mean Bayley not a Grand Slam champion anymore?
Yeah, that was your first. Of all the concerns you have, that's the first one.
Yeah, I was concerned about Bayley. What about Bayley's records?
That was all you worried about. Well, we love Bayley, so
Yeah, so now I'm like, do Becky get this? And
now she's the first.
We hear that role model come out.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, bro. I don't know, but all I know is, hey, we want some Bayley. So Bayley.
So you're thinking Becky's winning this?
I think so.
You and I both love Lyra.
I hate that for Bird person.
And I told you I love Lyra before I ever saw her wrestle a match. I saw a promo.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this girl. I don't even know if she can wrestle or not.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that Becky came back to put over some of the talent. And honestly, a loss to Becky Lynch doesn't.
Becky Lynch.
That's the thing real quick. That's the thing real quick. People love to throw the word buried around.
Yeah.
And you posted something last week, and I put a meme of Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride, which you're going to be hearing about that movie later on in the show. I guarantee you. But and he said, you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah.
Like
you keep on using that word.
People think buried means like it's over.
Yeah.
Like, no, if Becky Lynch beats you, that's hardly
a
burial. You've been elevated by being in the ring with her. You get elevated by being in the ring with a Charlotte Flair. You get elevated by being in the ring with a Mercedes, with a Bayley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So buried, no. I'd like for Lyra to keep going on. And, you always want to see, I don't like really hot-shotting titles, especially this one, the first champ. She had a decent run. I'd love for her to be able to keep it and keep going, but I just kind of feel like Becky didn't come back, leave Rue at home, or put Rue on the bus and have her travel, the country with her and her pops for nothing. Yes. So I feel like Becky is going to get the IC title.
And what I look at as a wrestling fan, when I see the Intercontinental champion lose their title,
what that means.
They want you to go for the big boy.
That's a step up.
Yeah, they want you. They're ready for you to challenge for big face. And we saw it with Gunther. Yeah. So like it ain't always a bad thing to lose your title. They got bigger plans for you,
especially when you have a star of the magnitude of the man.
Yeah, of course. But speaking of titles, we got, I think for the first time ever, I got to go back and look at that, but I'm pretty sure. We got our world heavyweight champion, main event, Jey Uso, going up against John Cena, the WWE champ.
4 letters, 1 word.
Yeah, so we got them going against each other, but they got company with it.
Yeah, little tag team
extravaganza. They got on John Cena's side, he's got the Maverick, known as Logan Paul. And man, have I been waiting for the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, to return.
Which is crazy because I don't know what
I have grown.
Sometimes it seems like you and I don't know if it seems like you weren't a Cody fan because you just had so much love for Roman. And I'm kind of believing that that's what it was. Not that you didn't like Cody. It was just like your love for Roman, just superseding your love for everybody else.
There's no reason to not like Cody.
No.
Like, there's no reason not.
Cody Raheem Rhodes?
If you could cut out or draw up a champion that you would want to represent your billion-dollar company,
it's that man.
It's the guy who goes on roller coasters in 3-piece suits.
That's what he does.
Right? He's all about his business. And so, yeah, it was just, I'm a OG bloodline type of guy. But, man, when I say that this man, Cordell Raheem Rhodes, has been missed, he has been missed.
Yeah.
When I heard Kingdom come through them speakers,
adrenaline
in my soul, something, Cody Rhodes. Oh, man, it's good to see him back. And, of course,
he had a much deserved time off, too.
Yeah, absolutely. But the pop was everything he needed. And, of course, the first PLE he's going to be at is going to be in a tag match with Jay against John and Logan Paul. Where? In Los Angeles. I'm tired of Los Angeles getting everything that they want. Damn it.
But you're really not.
I'm not at all.
Love it. To quote John Travolta, you dig it the most.
Man, you better recognize and step aside. Los Angeles will be the spot for this event. And I hate to be that guy, but we know who's taking the pin in this one.
Do we?
Dog, if they make either champion or the returning Cody Rhodes take the pin, I will be shocked.
I wouldn't.
That's enough, TJ.
Nothing's going to shock me.
Okay.
At this point, why wouldn't you have one of the champions taken out?
That's crazy.
Just to build up to something down the road a little bit. Not saying they're going to, but I'm not saying anything's out of the realm of possibility. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's all wide open right now, dog. It's all wide open.
Yeah, well, I mean,
because we don't know what's going on. They're releasing people.
We just talked about R-Truth being released. We don't know what's happening.
I'm still upset Isla Dawn got released. I threw that out there for no reason,
except for Isla Dawn,
just because I love Isla Dawn.
Yeah,
and she follows us on Instagram. So hi,
shout out to Isla Dawn.
What up, girl?
Got to get you in that seat. Yeah, I mean, if that's how you feel, I just.
You don't think it's?
I just don't.
Think it's Logan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, Logan.
They seem to love that.
Look at the moment you get to be in.
Yeah, but
you can take a pin, bro. It's definitely not a bad thing to take a pin from anybody in that ring.
No, but I got to say too that thinking about the Cena heel turn and everything, it's just like, man, the last day I've really been just caught up on the fact that the R-Truth thing was such a missed opportunity.
Yeah,
to get people to really rail against John Cena.
The one thing about WWE crowds, y'all are not performing your role. Y'all just there. Y'all just happy to be there. Happy to sing Seth Rollins' song. Happy to see John Cena say goodbye to your town and like all that nonsense. We got a role to play with pushing this story along, baby. And that would have been great if he retired Truth before we thought was time.
Well, man,
that's how you generate
that's nuclear level heat, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I just
burn your retinas.
But he picked up some heat saying Logan Paul does the WWE thing better than anybody else.
You saw his face.
People hate that.
You saw his face.
Yeah, it's like it was like he was saying it, but it was like somebody made him say it.
That. That's not how you talk.
I don't know.
He looked like my Uncle Mike Epps has a joke. When you see your homeboy by himself as opposed to when you see him with his wife. Mm-hmm. That's how it looked. John, it looked like you just saying it. All right, blink twice if you're in danger.
But Cody and Jay together as a tag team, former tag team champions. That's legendary.
They got chemistry.
Those two got chemistry, and the backstage shenanigans with those two on the bus. You want to have a drink or 5 with those two dudes. I think
Cody is much more of the and then Jay does the Shout out to Tim the Two-Man Taylor, by the way.
Do you feel him, sir?
Yeah, do you feel him, sir? He said a couple of libations. That's the first time I heard that.
Oot had a few libations. You never heard libations before?
No, I don't.
Didn't you go to USC?
I mean, no. We just said, "Yo, pass me that."
Okay.
Get drunk. It's Thursday on the road. Shout out to the road. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. I was a different shade back then. Now I'm a professional. But man,
so that's money in the bank.
It's money in the bank. A lot of online discourse. A lot of people, always. But that's the thing. The IWC always has something they're mad at. There's a lot of fake outrage. There's a lot of real outrage, and it gets blended together. And it doesn't matter what you post or what you say. They'll always find something to complain about. Just like the other day when you posted the spot from the Liv Morgan interview.
Yo, let me tell you something, man. I normally don't get annoyed, right? But we, from our interview with Liv Morgan a few months ago, we've been sitting on this clip. She just got done doing a movie. So I figured it was the right time. I had our boy Jake cut it and post it. And it was, us asking Liv why she thinks that wrestlers do so well or so sought after for roles in TVs and movies. Because you got to hit your marks. You get one shot. You got to know all this, that, and the third. She gave a really great answer, said, directable. She was like, was that a word? Yeah. And then she did the Liv Morgan laugh, which just made you go, So I post this, and of course you got, oh man, I just don't, let me look in this camera. I don't understand some of you people, man, who get on social media. We all like wrestling. You wouldn't be on the No Contest Wrestling Podcast Instagram feed if you didn't like wrestling, right?
That's right.
So I post this thing, and I'm trying to hype up wrestlers. And I'm trying to say, wrestlers do so well outside of the wrestling world and in terms of, movies and TVs and just, Netflix had To Doom this weekend, which, by the way, Rich Eisen hosted, and he introduced the cast of Happy Gilmore too. He never told us he was doing this.
My God.
No, I'm just randomly watching it, and there's Rich.
Is this real?
And I text Feller and Brockman. I'm like, yo, they're like, Brockman, you think knows everything? He goes, what's this? I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I don't even know. So, Rich, thanks for, keeping up. Rich says, I don't ever tell him anything that I do. Rich don't tell us nothing. So, anyway, I had to get that out there, Rich. But point being, you had To Doom, and then, they brought out, the New Day. They brought out Rhea. They brought out Punk. They brought out the Judgment Day. Dom, Liv, Raquel, and so, like I said, you have these wrestlers who, people trust, and they want them to get out there, and they know that they can hit their marks and this, that, and the third. And that's all I'm saying. And of course, though, there are people who get in the comment section. I don't know why I let this rile me up so much, but right off the bat, there were two dudes with private profiles who were like, how many good wrestlers are there? They got two. And I'm like, yeah, there ain't any that connect. And I'm just like, why are you coming here? And then so I gave a list of people, and they were like, oh, like only one of those is a good actor anyway. But I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you folks? Yeah, we're out here trying to hype and elevate wrestlers and all things wrestling. And then you got fans who come in and just want to argue the dumbest stuff, man. And
it's just such a pointless, it don't age your day in no kind of way.
No way.
I'm sorry. Brian 236-044-989.
I'm gonna give this person the attention they so desperately craved.
Bro, I'm sorry. I'm entertained about some wrestlers in their roles. I'm sorry. Oh, wives, thespian, masterful Brian 3-69, whatever your damn username is, bro.
Not Megan and most likely Peggy. All right, you guys made me mad yesterday. So because of that, came up with an idea, because you're challenging us on whether wrestlers make good actors. So what Shay and I decided to do was we decided to come up with this segment right here, which we will prove to you that wrestlers make good actors, and this is why they're so sought out for these projects. Yeah. So we want to give you our list. There's 5 wrestlers that we believe make good actors.
Yeah, man. I was entertained, and that's all I care about for my dollar.
So what you got? Who's your style?
Well, first at the number 5 spot, and the only reason,
but these aren't numbered.
Oh, right, they're not.
Actually, they're just in alphabetical order. So okay. I didn't want to have to make you choose. So we're just reading them off alphabetically.
All right, alphabetically, I gotta go with Andre the Giant.
Come on,
Andre the Giant, man. Andre the Giant and The Princess Bride is a movie that I hold dear to my heart, because me and my late grandmother Dolores, we used to watch this movie together. And it was honestly, as a kid, first time I seen Andre the Giant.
Wait, Princess Bride was your introduction?
That was my introduction to Andre the Giant. And so did
you know he was a wrestler?
Just from talking to my uncle and finding out everything later in life. But in that moment, yeah, my uncle Adonis telling me, and my brother Daryl, But watching that movie with my grandmother, Andre the Giant, there's no way. That movie is such a key point in my life. How could I not bring up Andre the Giant?
You know, and not only that, because Fezzik is just a legendary character with his rhymes. Anybody want the peanut? You know?
Anybody want the peanut?
Everybody knows him. But he had roles in the $6 Million Man,
Yes.
Conan the Destroyer. A lot of people don't know. He was hidden under a lot of makeup. He was like Bigfoot in $6 Million Man. So, yeah, not a whole lot of roles for a giant, but when it called for one, there was one, and he was the 8th wonder of the world, and he was Andre.
Yeah, Andre the Giant.
So my first guy I got up, and I kind of feel like this guy is the reason not only wrestling exists today as it is, but he's probably a reason a lot of wrestlers get work in music videos and film and television. That's Captain Lou Albano, manager of 15 World Tag Team Champions, 4 individual champions. Imagine that. He took 15 different teams to tag team championships. But here's why I'm putting Captain Lou on my list. He was in a movie called Wise Guys back in the day, but also, and he was in a movie called Body Slam. But the most important thing, 1983, Captain Lou Albano's on an airplane, and he meets a woman by the name of Cyndi Lauper, who is a huge pop star. They get to talk, and Cyndi Lauper decides that she wants to offer Captain Lou Albano a role in her music video for a new song called Girls Just Want to Have Fun, where she played her dad.
Yeah.
Captain Lou does the video. The song still is playing right now in probably 50 different radio stations as we're speaking. It blows up. But the thing about this is what this does is because Captain Lou does this video, this all rolls into the Rock and Wrestling Connection on MTV, the Brawl to Settle It All. It rolls into Wendy Richter against the Fabulous Moolah. It eventually rolls its way into Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff and Cowboy Ace Bob Orton against Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, and Jimmy Snuka at WrestleMania 1. All this, in my opinion, came because Captain Lou Albano did this video. So that's why I'm saying he was such a good actor that he not only got more roles and roles for other wrestlers, but he helped wrestling get to where it is today because that blew wrestling up.
Yes. Recognize or step aside.
Yes, sir.
My next one, I mean, we knew this was coming. I gotta go. The Man Who Walks Alone. Dave Bautista, man. Bautista, obviously, my favorite role of him is Drax the Destroyer of Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, the Avengers saga, but Guardians of the Galaxy is where Drax the Destroyer really gets to shine. Avengers has a hell of people in it. And Doom. Bautista brings it. Bautista takes his acting very serious. So much so that he's talked about never coming back to wrestling. He is just the man. It's super believable in every badass role that you see him in, because how could you not believe him? He looks like he would eat you, and he's got great comedic timing. That's all I need, man. That's all I need. Dave Bautista, great guy. Would love to talk to him.
Yeah, I think obviously that'll happen eventually.
We think everybody will happen, though, but like I gotta get my acting, pull my acting strings a little bit with that one.
It'll happen. Oh yeah, and also I forgot he's also a Bond villain in the movie, Bautista.
Yeah, with Inspector.
Yeah.
That's right, Bautista.
Bautista is probably
the
the most versatile actor, I feel like, especially recently. He's just a lot of, Hotel Artemis with my favorite Jodie Foster. Like, there's been so much work that he's done. But again, for those people to say, who were the wrestlers? Yeah. There's one of them. I got another guy. He's old school. He's another guy who is one of, the forerunners of getting wrestlers in movies. And that's a guy who pops up now every few months on Saturday Night's Main Event, and that is Jesse the Body Ventura.
Ooh, he ain't got time to bleed.
He ain't got time to bleed. Exactly. Legendary quote from the movie Predator, Jesse Ventura. Then we had The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger again. Of course, the Body was in that. And then he was in another movie called Tag Team with Roddy Piper. Jesse the Body, he definitely got in there, did that thing, the acting thing. It was probably, not to be disrespectful, he is at one time AWA Tag Team Champion, but he may have been more successful as an actor than he was in the wrestling ring.
How about that? And then, he didn't only just act and do wrestling. That man was governor.
Man was the governor of Minnesota.
Governor.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to Minnesota. Not right now, though, because the Wolves beat the Lakers. Next. Come on now. You know what I'm talking about, baby. You know what time it is. Y'all knew exactly who I was talking about coming up. The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Hold on 1 second, TJ. Let me talk to him. You don't think The Rock's a good actor? It doesn't matter what you think. All right, The Rock is box office, baby. Billions of dollars with only $7 in his pocket to start it all off. The Rock, whether you want to see him in Jumanji, whether you talking about back in the day when it was Be Cool and Gridiron Gang, The Tooth Fairy, shout out to it, don't disrespect. The Mummy Returns. As a child, I went to go see The Mummy Returns and I was bamboozled. I was hoodwinked. I was led astray. And I went to go see it twice just to see him again. The Rock, man. And when he comes out with the Smashing Machine, as Mark Kerr in the Smashing Machine, the disrespect that he has been given, I need all of that energy to be in a celebratory fashion because we all seen the trailer. We all know he's bringing it. And I cannot wait to see my man's moment to just take his boot, shine it up real nice, turn that sumbitch sideways, and stick it straight to you haters, man. Shout out to Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Let's not forget the Fast and Furious saga. I mean, the dude elevated the whole thing to another level. I got to put The Rock on there. And if you hating, man, I just don't know what to tell you, man. It's this jabroni beating, pie eating, hell blazing, eyebrow raising. The Rock. Come on, dog.
I'm not mad at that.
We got to work. Hey, come on.
Yeah.
Dwayne. Do it.
And me too.
Come on, baby.
You know what I'm doing is if you ever saw any of our list shows on the Rich Eisen show, you know I whenever I do something called TJ's Big Ass Grab Bag, I have lists of various things. I
grab an ass. What'd you say?
Big ass grab bag. Oh. I have a tendency personally to not put the more obvious answers. I like to do a little deeper digging. I like Batista and I like The Rock, but I figured those were kind of obvious.
They're going on mine, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I'd like to bring up some people who you might not initially think of. So the next guy on my list, he goes by the name of Big Sexy, and that is Kevin Nash.
Oh, somebody I got on here is from the same movie. But
Kevin Nash, former WWE champion, former WCW world champion, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Mm-hmm. He was in that. Grandma's Boy.
Yeah.
He was in The Punisher. And the Magic Mike franchise. He plays a stripper. Kevin Nash has a deep filmography, man. And those are just some of the movies I pointed out. I put Grandma's Boy in there because that's one of my favorite movies. And he comes in as a moving guy who basically comes in. He tells you that you're moving out of your apartment and they just start taking all the furniture.
He's evicting you.
Putting on the truck. Yeah. When Kevin Nash comes to evict you, I don't think you're going to. Yeah, just might as well just pack a bag and leave.
Can I make something to eat first? Now, next. Now, I know he's talking about wrestlers who are really going for their roles, but I had to put a personal favorite on there. It's a small role. Okay. It's a small role he was in, but I got to put Paul White in there, man, the Big Show, because I remember Captain Insano shows no mercy. All right, Captain Insano in Waterboy. To this day, I quote him. Just the laugh that he belts out once he finds out that Bobby Boucher isn't a little kid calling into the show is some of the most evil bits of cinema I've ever seen, because poor Bobby Boucher doesn't know how to take his hero laughing in his face in embarrassment. And I got to just give a shout out to Captain Insano. AEW tried to, they brought back a Captain Insano moment with Paul White, and I appreciate them for it. But I got to throw Big Show in there, man. I don't care what you say in the comments. That's a great pick. It's a great pick. Hate if you want to. I'm not going to read it anyway. And then who you got next, bro?
My next guy. Now I'm going old school on this one.
Standard TJ Jefferson.
Yep. I'm going for a guy who I would choose to believe most of the modern wrestling fans do not remember.
He's about to say Vlad Finkelthorpe. of the 1858. Bro, go ahead.
Not quite that deep.
Lay it on us.
But this man, former 3-time WWF tag team champion with Mr. Fuji. At the time, that was a record. He held the record for most tag team championship reigns. Okay. That is Professor Toru Tanaka. Now, you might be, who is Professor Tanaka? Well, he was in An Eye for an Eye with Chuck Norris.
Okay.
He was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. You know him, big Asian guy that wears the derby.
Oh, you oddball. Yes.
Shanghai Surprise with Sean Penn and Madonna. And he was also in The Running Man.
Yeah.
Professor Tanaka, he was one of the first, I think, wrestlers who really got a lot of roles in Hollywood. His filmography of TVs and movies is so long. I just picked out a few there. But yeah, he's a guy who, took what he learned and honed in wrestling and got to become an actor who did very well for himself.
He's not oddball. He's not Odd Job.
No, he's not Odd Job.
Who's Odd Job? He's a wrestler.
I'm gonna have to look that up when you get to your pick.
Yeah, because no. Because when you said the hat, it made me think of Odd Job. We'll look into that. This is No Contest Wrestling Podcast. We'll do it live. Next.
Harold Takada. This comes in from Jay Felly.
Yeah. Say his name again.
Harold Sakata. Yes.
Yeah, he's for sure.
And he was also a weightlifter and pro wrestler. So yeah he could have Harold Sakata. Odd
yeah,
job.
when you said the bullet head, first person I thought was him, but it wasn't him, and that's not weird. Now the last, my last guy, Stone Cold Steve Austin in The Longest Yard, gave me so many different emotions. He gave me so many different emotions, right? And that's the job. But I remember thinking dang, Stone Cold, a movie. And then I watched it and I was like, wow.
Did you have to say that?
He's being real mean to Nelly. But Nelly's a Kobe hater, so I love that for you, Stone Cold. But yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin, man, in The Longest Yard, I was very excited. And then it was like, oh, well, he's doing it, but it's Stone Cold, man. He's playing a character. He
didn't write the movie.
Yeah, he didn't write the movie. And I hate Nelly. But anyway, so Stone Cold Steve Austin is my pick. Ultimate Badass, The Expendables, Nash Bridges, The Longest Yard. How could you hate Stone Cold? Not me.
And I think I heard something. What was that?
I did hear a rumbling.
You think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more.
Oh, you have honorable mentions.
I mean, I do got honorable mentions.
What you got?
Because I do want to give it up because it is hard to. It's hard to do body acting when it's not your voice coming out. So I do want to give a nod to my man Samoa Joe for his work in Twisted Metal, the Twisted Metal TV series. He plays Sweet Tooth the Clown, who, if you've played Twisted Metal, is the flagship character for the series. And Samoa Joe, you did your thing, and I'm recognizing you here. And also, just because as a kid, this was one of the first times where I was a kid and I recognized the wrestler and I was like, hey, that's Bam Bam Bigelow in Major Pain. That's right. Go look. Bam Bam Bigelow's in Major Pain. He has a quick fight scene, but he's in there. He's very prominent. And I remember that was one of the first wrestlers I recognized on my own as a kid, was like, that's Bam Bam Bigelow. And how could you hate that name? It's like one of the greatest names ever. Bam Bam Bigelow in Major Pain. Shout out to you.
The Bam Bam Bigelow, I remember when I was a kid, I thought he was going to win the WWF Championship tournament at WrestleMania 4. I was just so convinced because he would look like a walking cartoon character.
Yeah.
From Asbury Park, New Jersey. I thought Bam Bam was winning. But of course, Macho Man won.
Of course.
And that was the right call.
The Macho Man?
That was the right call. All right. Well, my last guy, a dude who's very highly regarded in the world of professional wrestling, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, who, did a good job once he got on the acting side of the camera, and that is Terry Funk. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Terry Funk was in a movie called Paradise Alley with Sylvester Stallone, where he played they were almost like a bare knuckle fighters, if I recall the movie correctly. Perfect for him. He was also in Over the Top with Stallone, the arm wrestling movie. And then, of course, with Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse, you get to see him and Swayze and him and Sam Elliott mix it up in that movie. So
Love
Terry
Sam
Funk,
Elliott.
man. Terry Funk, he gets that nod from me there.
Love Sam Elliott.
You think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more.
Having a stroke? What is that?
Yeah, I do hear that. I have one more. Here's one more, and here's something. Here's a current wrestler. No one ever talks about the fact that this guy was in the movie. I'm willing to bet a lot of you don't even know he was.
Here you go.
A couple months ago, I'm watching. It was about a year ago, I guess. I'm randomly watching this Nicole Kidman movie. It's called Destroyer, and she plays a cop who's trying to right some old wrongs.
Yeah.
There's a scene she pulls up into what I'm assuming is a chop shop for cars. And a brother's sitting there talking to her, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, wow, did not know he acted. And, you get to the credits, you see his name, and it's Joseph Fatu, a.k.a. Sola Sikoa.
Wow.
If you look at Destroyer with Nicole Kidman, Solo, I believe the year was 2018, 2019, Solo has a role in that movie with her, and you probably didn't even know that.
No, I did not.
A lot of people don't. It doesn't get talked about a lot.
Nice.
Solo Sikoa gets my honorable mention. If you get a chance, Destroyer, Nicole Kidman, check it out. And this whole thing was done because people questioned whether these sports entertainers, these wrestlers, had the chops to go out and make good actors. So I feel like we just proved that those people were wrong.
Yeah, and the list doesn't stop here. Shout out to Kane and See No Evil. Yeah. Shout out to Triple H and Blade Trinity. Shout out to obviously John Cena and Peacemaker.
And again, we didn't put Cena. Like I said, I didn't use some of the most obvious ones because obviously John Cena's acting.
You keep telling us online whenever he has to take a break. Roman had his cameo in Fast and Furious. There's all the ladies in Queen of the Ring.
That's
Toni Storm and Camille and
Camille and Naomi.
Yeah, they do as an actor. They do what I do with no cuts, no redos, live, and have to add to the character every single week. What we are watching is Broadway with the risk of tearing a ligament, breaking a bone, risking their lives, their body, their futures for a couple of claps and a pop from us. So you got to respect what's going on in front of you because they're playing characters right in front of your eyes. Like, how could you think any of them that want to go into cinema or anything like that? So recognize what you're seeing, recognize the talent and all the things that have to go into what they do on top of putting their bodies on the line. So quit hating, don't cheat yourself, treat yourself, and support wrestlers in film.
Bet. And in case you didn't get all the list, we're going to pop that up and you can see our full list here. My top wrestlers turned actors, Captain Lou Albano, like I said, very important to even get us to where wrestling is today. Jesse the Body, Terry Funk, Kevin Nash, and Professor Tanaka, just an old school cat.
Andre the Giant, you see how we starting off things. My man Dave Bautista, that guy's probably next. Him and Rock, that's so much money in the box office. Stone Cold Steve Austin, shout out to you, and Captain Insano, Paul Big Show White, man. And once again, AEW, they have their run with Captain Insano. And before we get out of here, TJ, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about a couple of things that's happening over there because Timeless Toni Storm and Mercedes Monè are going to tear the house down at All In.
Like, I kind of want to, I don't know if I'm going to be in town.
Texas?
I think we're dark that week, so I might be I might go somewhere. But if I don't go anywhere, I'm giving serious consideration to maybe checking out, because that card for that match alone,
dude,
it's going to be incredible. And
it can go either way.
Yeah.
It can go either way. They had a promo battle the other night, and there was a line. Toni Storm, who's obviously in her bag whenever the black and white happens across your screen, but Toni gave Mercedes her props.
Yep,
and at the same time let her know I'm here. So when she had a line,
441 days, and
what took you so long?
Yeah.
You didn't even look at me. You never even said a word to me. But my favorite is I think of you as the greatest of all time, but unfortunately for you, I'm timeless.
And then she also said, I'm the Toni Storm of professional wrestling.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Love it. Love Toni Storm.
And you have all those titles, you have all those belts, but I only needed the one.
Ugh. Love it.
Beautiful.
We got some time to discuss this. And I know we will. This build-up's going to be great.
Yeah,
man.
Thank goodness.
Also, we're out of time for the day, I think. But, AEW's got Fyter Fest coming up on Wednesday.
4 hours.
4 hours. We're going to review that on Monday.
Yeah. So
instead of doing a preview, we're going to do a review of Fyter Fest. And, we're still reeling over the fact that Stephanie Vaquer lost the NXT Women's Championship. That was probably the biggest upset in the last few years, but we understand why it had to be done.
Yeah.
She got the call to move up to the big house.
Yeah. And it made us look crazy on our last episode.
And also, before we go, if you guys haven't had the chance to see the party that I know you and I wish we were at, Natalia's birthday party on that boat, it's worth going to Instagram and just searching a bunch of videos because it looked like one of the best soirees that I've ever seen. And I kind of wish I was there.
Yeah, I don't hate on a lot of people. God has blessed me with an incredible life, an incredible family who supports everything that I do, a beautiful girl in Jordan, my daughter. She'll be 8 in August.
Hey.
I'm a single black father just trying to make it, but I'm hating. I'm hating real tough. Obviously, we just some suckers. We got to get on a boat next year, bro.
I'm telling you. That
just some losers.
That looked fun.
Fun.
That looked fun.
We're professional. Anyway, yes, guys. This has been an amazing episode of y'all kicking it with us on the No Contest Wrestling Podcast. TJ Jefferson, if you could do me one last favor on this episode, can you please tell these people where to find us?
You know how I do. So on Twitter X, there's No Contest. Instagram, No Contest Wrestling Podcast. You'll find this video and every video we do. You go to YouTube, you search Rich Eisen Show, then you put in No Contest Wrestling.
Look at them go.
Boom. We're going to be right there.
Yeah, man.
This was fun,
guys.
man.
Yeah. Thank you guys for everything. We'll see you next week with a whole lot more to talk about.
And of course,
thank every single one of you. And thank you, Jada
bye,
Parker.
Miss Parker.
Yeah, you have a good day.
Check out my Aaliyah t-shirt today.
Look at them go. Shout out to Big Three. You see the Big Three doing Big Three things. June 14th.
Rock the boat.
Anyway, see y'all later.